Do we need to make a note that
Yeah,
Commissioner Kleiner's not here?
Commissioner Kreiner should be at in another location that you need to announce, and we need to verify verbally that he is on the call.
Okay.
Thank you.
Commissioner Kreiner is participating remotely from Las Vegas via teleconference. I would now like to request that Commissioner Kreiner respond to the following questions. Can we please, is he on, Commissioner Kreiner? Commissioner Kreiner, if you're on. He's not on Zoom or nor teleconference. You want to give it a couple of minutes and see if he responds? Or should we just move forward, since we do have a quorum?
Go ahead and move forward since you have a quorum.
Perfect. All right, next, I'll go ahead and read the procedures. This meeting is being conducted in person and electronically. The public may participate in tonight's meeting by using the Zoom link provided on the Planning Commission agenda. Please note that all virtual participants will be on mute until they are called upon by the chair, at which point they will be unmuted. If you're a member of the public and would like to comment on an item, use the raise hand function on Zoom. To avoid any confusion, please wait for the item you desire to comment on to be called by the chair before electronically raising your hand. For each matter considered by the commission, there will first be a staff presentation, followed by a presentation from the project applicant. Testimony from supporters of the project will then be taken, followed by testimony from those in opposition. The applicant will have the right to a final rebuttal presentation prior to closing the public hearing. In accordance with Section 13 of Article 2 of the Planning Commission Rules and Regulations governing length of public debate, all public testimony from those in support and in opposition of the project will be limited to 3 minutes per person. The 3 lights on the podium next to the microphone will indicate the amount of time remaining for the speaker. The green light will be turned on when the speaker begins. The yellow light will come on with the soft bell ring when 1 minute is remaining. The speaker should be completing the testimony by the time the red light comes on with the final bell indicating time has expired. All in-person public testimony must be presented to the commission at the podium. Any testimony that references race, religion, ethnicity, economic status, national origin, or any other classification protected under state or federal law in a derogatory manner shall be deemed irrelevant and will not be considered by the commission in making its land use determinations. If you challenge these land use matters in court, you may be limited to raising only those issues you or someone else raised in oral or written testimony or before the close of the hearing. Next, we're going to have the agenda approval. Are there any changes to the agenda?
Good evening, Chair Vang, members of the Planning Commission. I'm Sophia Pagalatis, Planning Manager, Long Range Planning, and Israel is kindly coaching me this evening, handing over the reins for this meeting. We don't have any changes to the agenda.
All right, thank you, Ms. Appreciate it. Do we have a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion to approve.
Okay, we have a first and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, say no. None, motion passes. Next, we have consent calendar. We have some minutes that we need to approve under the consent calendar. Do we have a motion to approve the consent calendar?
I approve.
Second.
First and second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. Motion passes. Do we have any reports by the commissioners? I see none. We'll go ahead and move forward to new matters. This is ID 23144. It's a workshop to consider acceptance of the Kings Canyon Corridor Transit-Oriented Development Connectivity Study.
And good evening again, Chair Vang, members of the Planning Commission. I wanted to introduce you to Planner Adrienne Asadorian this evening. This will be her first presentation in front of this body. She is a new planner with us, and I wanted to just tell you a little bit about her. She is a Fresno boomerang, and she first interned with us in 2015 when she had just completed her communications major. And she thought she might like planning, and after her internship with us, she was so enamored with planning that she decided to go get her master's. And then she applied for our Planner 3 position, and we're happy to say that she's here with us now. So just wanted to give you that background on her and also let you know a couple more things. She came in after this project was essentially completed, but we have a whole team here, Drew Wilson and myself, who have participated in the project throughout. So between the three of us, we can answer your questions. And also wanted, since we are the only item on this agenda this evening, our presentation will be a little bit longer than your usual presentation. It'll probably range about 20 to 30 minutes, and just wanted to let you know that so you can settle in and relax and enjoy the presentation. So with that, I will present Adrian Asadorian.
Thank you, Sophia. Good evening, Chair Vang, and members of the Planning Commission and public. For the record, again, my name is Adrian Asadorian. I'm a planner with the Planning and Development Long Range Division. Very happy to be here this evening. And this evening, for your consideration, we will be discussing the Kings Canyon Corridor Transit-Oriented Development Connectivity Study. That is quite a mouthful, so you will pause.
My apologies. Commissioner Kreiner, may you please state that you're on?
I am on. Commissioner Kreiner from in the state of Nevada.
Awesome. Commissioner Kreiner, I'm going to have to ask you a couple questions, okay? First question is going to be, Commissioner Kreiner, can you hear me well?
Yes,
Were you able to hear the proceedings on this end up until now?
no, I was able to just log in to get the credentials.
Okay. Do we need would that being the case, do we need a, okay, perfect. Do you have a copy of the agenda for this meeting?
I do.
Have you posted the agenda at the location where you are?
I have, and there is record of it to Jennifer Clark's office.
Perfect. Is your location reasonably accessible to the public such that any member of the public could participate in this teleconference from your location if they wish to do so?
It is.
Is there any member of the public there with you who would like to participate in the public comment portion of this meeting or otherwise address any agenda item for this meeting?
As of now, no.
All right. Thank you very much. We're all good? All right. You may continue. Thank you very much.
Thank you. As I was mentioning, tonight we will be discussing the Kings Canyon Corridor Transit-Oriented Development Connectivity Study. You will hear me reference that as KCCTOD for short. And before I get started, I know Sophia mentioned, I kind of came into this project towards the tail end, and I do want to acknowledge all of the staff that did work on this project, before I came in, specifically our former City of Fresno planning staff, Maricela Martinez. She really, played a very large role in moving this project forward. So just want to thank staff for all of their efforts as well. So as we get into the presentation this evening, just to give a quick overview of what we'll be discussing this evening, in order to really inform this study and lay the groundwork, we'll go over a couple recent plans that really provided the framework for this study to occur. We'll touch base on the study area and kind of what specific stretch of the corridor that includes. We'll review some of the study objectives as well as the planning process and really robust community engagement process that occurred as well throughout this study. And then finally, I'll go into some details about how the study is organized as well as some key deliverables. So as I mentioned, just to touch base on some of those recent plans that really laid the groundwork for this study to occur, the Fresno General Plan that was adopted in 2014 provided a framework for really how the Ventura and Kings Canyon corridor is envisioned. And it really is envisioned as a mixed-use corridor with that main street character, active storefronts, outdoor seating, and a really pedestrian-oriented design, more focused at a neighborhood scale. Concurrent with the adoption of the Fresno General Plan, the Complete Streets Plan, which was a strategy that was developed specific to the Ventura and Kings Canyon corridor, Complete Streets Plan was really developed to explore different ways the Kings Canyon corridor could be developed to become more walkable and transit-friendly. And then in addition, the city also launched the Bus Rapid Transit Line, otherwise known as the Q. And this really provided what we call the T in Transit-Oriented Development, or TOD. And while we saw this transit piece occur, we've really been missing that D in development along this corridor. So, we felt that there was a need for this study to occur to really be able to lay the groundwork and framework for, high-quality development along this corridor. So in order to really catalyze on this transit-oriented development in the private realm, the city pursued the Fresno County Measure C TOD grant dollars and was awarded a grant of $325,000 to evaluate and demonstrate the viability of higher density, mixed-use development, walkable development along this corridor. So just to give a quick overview of the project boundaries, so as you can see, the KCC TOD boundary is highlighted in green. We have the Q bus route highlighted in that blue line along the corridor as well. The study area covers approximately 2,900 acres. It's bound by Tulare to the north, Butler to the south, Argyle Avenue to the east, and Highway 41 to the west. Also want to note as well, the study area includes portions of Council District 5 and 7, as well as a couple pockets of county islands. So just to mention some of the key objectives that were identified as part of this study. So we had 3 main objectives. The first being to really identify which Q line stops along the corridor had what's called the greatest near-term market potential, or just highest capacity for compact, high-quality development, mixed-use development specifically. And then from that, we also wanted to look at developing station area plans for the top 2 stations which had that greatest near-term or highest capacity potential for development. And then finally, as we went through the study, we also wanted to develop really a standardized TOD framework, not just for the Kings Canyon corridor, but for high-quality transit corridors throughout the city as well, that can be applied to our CMX and NMX zoned properties, the zones that we see along the Kings Canyon corridor today, to provide more of a standardized approach for development along the corridor and really kind of provide a plug-and-play approach for developers to use for mixed-use development, walkable development along the corridor. So just to touch base on some of the milestones and timelines, where we started in June of 2021 with our project kickoff. And since then, we've gone through market analyses, community engagement workshops, creating those station area plans, the draft study, more community engagement, which has really led us to where we are today, the summer of 2023, here at the Planning Commission. I also want to mention, as we review milestones as well, the public review draft of the study was released on May 17th. And it was available for public comment until June 16th. We have received a handful of comments as well. Staff is reviewing those, and we are working on responding to those comments as well. So to touch base on our very robust community outreach process, and this is really where I want to give a shout out to staff who paved the way and showed us what a great community outreach process can really look like. As you see here, we kind of have some facts on some of the community outreach events that were attended. We held 4 workshops, 2 developer forums, 2 mobile workshops, attended countless pop-up events. We have passed around what we call zines, which is short for magazines, that staff created, the first of its kind. As you can look through them here, they are very colorful, very vibrant. And this was really to create a very interactive and easy to understand way of what the process looked like when we were creating this study, to really reach as many people as we possibly could and engage the public, so everyone was really aware of what we were seeking to achieve throughout this process. So just to give a quick overview of what the study document actually looks like, we have 5 chapters in addition to 4 appendices. So you see we have our introduction chapter, which really gives a background of the study area. We have chapter 2, which really goes into depth on the community engagement process and how a vision for the corridor was actually created. I will go into this a little bit more, but chapter 3 touches on the story map, which is a web-based, very interactive platform that was created. Chapter 4 really describes the key investment opportunities and the station area plans that I mentioned that were developed throughout the study process. And then finally, chapter 5 discusses the key and summary of potential funding and financing mechanisms that we can really utilize to promote TOD throughout the study corridor and the city as well. And then just to quickly touch upon the 4 appendices as well, the first one includes a development financial feasibility analysis. The second appendices includes an existing conditions atlas of kind of the existing conditions in the study area along the corridor today. The third appendices includes a grant-ready mobility concept, which gives concepts for areas throughout the entire corridor. And then the fourth appendices includes an implementation matrix, which provides additional details for the funding and financing tools as well. So to go into the station plans I mentioned, as you may recall from the objective slide, one of the primary objectives of this study was to develop station area plans for 2 stations on the corridor. And those were the 2 stations with the greatest near-term market potential and development capacity. So of those station area plans, 6 prototypes for development were created throughout the process. And I do want to mention that these station area plans and prototypes are all conceptual. There are no changes to, zoning. These are all very, potential framework scenarios really to provide a toolkit for developers, members of the public and community to understand kind of the capacity and what we really envisioned is capable for these station areas. So to go into depth a little bit more on these development prototypes, as I mentioned, 6 development prototypes were created as a part of this study. The first one being infill, which really focuses on the development of vacant and underutilized sites along the corridor. This could be in the form of single-story commercial or retail buildings. Second, we have infill mixed use. This is more of your ground floor retail with potential residential dwelling units above. Same concept as infill, where we're really focusing on those underutilized sites. Third, we have walk-up apartments. This is envisioned as 2-story apartments. You may see a clubhouse, a pool. Fourth being senior cottages. We envision these as 1 to 6 plexes on lots larger than 6 acres. Then we have townhomes, your traditional 3-story walk-up with individual garages. And then finally, we focused on adaptive reuse, which really focuses on reutilizing those vacant and underutilized buildings along the corridor. So this is an example of kind of what each prototype is comprised of. So we have a conceptual rendering, a conceptual plan, and then you'll see that pro forma there as well, which lays out more of the financial process. And I do want to note as well that both the infill mixed use and walk-up apartment prototypes also include a second pro forma, which assumes a 100% affordable project as well. So really wanted to focus on that affordable piece and provide a variety of prototypes as well. So as we move into the station area plans, a transit benefits assessment was prepared for this study. And what this transit benefits assessment did is it really included an analysis of all of the 9 Q-line stations which are currently located in the study area. And then it ranked each station against 5 transit orientation indicators. And then each station was then ranked on how it scored against the transit orientation indicators. So as a result of this assessment, the top 2 scoring station areas were identified as the Cedar Station and the Chestnut and Willow Station. So first we'll go into the Cedar Station. So just an initial analysis of existing conditions really showed that the neighborhoods around the Cedar Station are older, they include smaller lots, there's a mix of both residential and commercial buildings, and these buildings are actually already located adjacent to the sidewalk, and they already include that kind of street frontage that we really like to see in transit-oriented developments. And so this was a really positive sign on this stretch, which actually sits on the Ventura Avenue stretch of this corridor. And so really, we like to see new development along transit corridors that face the frontage, provide that activated street frontage. And we really feel like this stretch really provides the opportunity for that walkable Main Street that is already envisioned in our general plan today. So some key points that really came out of the community engagement process as to what we want to see in this stretch of the Ventura Station, or Cedar Station, excuse me. The first being a positive street frontage. So, you know, we already have that development that is built to face the street. We wanted to keep that going with new development, engage the street frontage, provide an active pedestrian environment. Second being including transparent storefronts. So including development that, you know, has transparent glazing so passerbys can interact with businesses. And it also provides that eyes on the street capability as well, which provides that natural surveillance. Creating inviting public spaces, so promoting events, you know, including sidewalk seating, taking your retail and bringing that and restaurant out into the street frontage, creating gathering spaces. And another important identity was creating a space for cultural expression, you know, providing development that's colorful, festive, artistic, and really expresses the community and providing a place of culture along the corridor. And then finally, creating development that really focuses on those streetscape improvements that really make it accessible and environmentally friendly with, you know, additional landscaping and trees to make this stretch of the corridor a safe space for everyone. So here, as you can see, we have some conceptual renderings of kind of potential development that, you know, we'd like to envision along this stretch of the corridor. So moving into the Chestnut and Willow Station, this area was a bit of contrast to the Cedar Station in that this area, the kind of more of the existing conditions show, we have newer and larger lots, more of that strip mall type shopping centers, more designated for auto uses. We see here more large parking lots that actually face the street frontage, and retail buildings are located more at the rear of lots here. And I do want to note this portion of the corridor is planned for what we call corridor center mixed use, or CMX in our zoning code. And this actually permits more taller and more intense development, so more of that higher capacity mixed use development. And we really see this stretch of the corridor to be developed over time. So in that, a phasing plan more so was created, or a phased approach, I should say, was created to really capitalize on development along this corridor. So going into some of the framework for really how we see this phased approach to occur, the first one being really to focus on enhancing the streetscape. So creating more vibrant, walkable areas. Secondly, making new connections, really to break up those super blocks that we currently see as well, creating pedestrian pathways. Oh. I think my remote is not clicking. There we go, thank you. And then the third approach really being to embrace opportunities for placemaking. And what we mean by that is expanding outdoor areas, creating a sense of place, you know, bringing inside retail or restaurants really outdoors. And then fourth being integrating selective new development. And that is really focusing on taking those underutilized or excess spaces and repurposing that into housing, where we can really integrate housing adjacent to potential commercial uses or parking uses as well. So again, we have some more conceptual renderings here. You see residential located adjacent to commercial, an example of that placemaking. You see a local farmers market, outdoor seating, really creating a sense of place. And as I mentioned previously, we did create a story map for this study as well. We have some examples here, as you can see. As I mentioned, this is really a web-based platform that provides a really interactive, fun way for people to come learn about this study. We have some videos on the story map to hear from people who actually engaged and participated in the process. You can click around to some maps and see kind of the potential prototypes and scenarios that we envision for the corridor. And this also provided an opportunity for people to kind of access this, via the internet versus tracking down hard copies of the study as well. And with that, I do just want to close and just kind of reiterate again, the intent that we have for this study is really to provide more of an information and toolkit for developers, community members, and the public to really provide that framework. Again, we're not changing zoning. These prototypes are really just to understand how development could occur, and provide mostly economic and feasibility information as well. And with that, that concludes my presentation for this evening. Thank you all for sticking through it. We are available, staff is available to answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you. Do you have any questions from the commission?
I do. What's a timeline look like when something would happen?
Yes, right now, we're still going through the study process. I think we've provided these toolkits and framework to really provide more of a standardized process for when a developer, has a potential plan for a project along the corridor. So I think that provides more of a plug-and-play plan per se than, creating a new plan from the ground up. But that really does depend on, when, a developer comes with a potential, development plan for a project along the corridor.
Do we have any other questions?
I do. I have a question. The Kings Canyon corridor, is it going to be a challenge to change all that to the new name, boulevard name?
I don't have information on that. I'll pass it over to my manager, Sophia. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Commissioner Diaz, Sophia Pagalatis. I would just say this is a study that is examining the economic feasibility for what's possible on the corridor. We view it as it's kind of a separate issue from the name, so we did not delve into any of the ramifications of the name change. And is there anything, Director, you would like to add? No, okay.
Any other questions?
Well, I think you did a great job for your first time presenting. Good job.
Yeah, it seems like you practice in the mirror, so good job.
I just wanted to make sure I didn't miss anything. Is there an existing picture of it today in real time, just to get an idea of the changes that could occur, as opposed to what it is today?
Are you asking for a PowerPoint?
No, just even like an aerial shot.
Oh, I would love to have the presentation that you did, if I could
Yes.
get a copy of that.
Absolutely.
We can certainly provide a copy of the presentation as well. We do have some aerials and some of the renderings that I showed as well, but we can happily provide the presentation.
That'd be great. Even something like satellite that we can see that is a little bit more in detail.
Yeah,
of what's
whatever
there
we
now.
have in terms of what has been included and created, we'll share.
All right, thank you. Thank you. Any other questions? Okay. We'll go ahead and we'll go out to the public. Are there any members of the public who wish to comment in favor of the application that are in the chambers? Do we have any members on Zoom who would like to comment in support of the project?
No hands at this time.
Commissioner
Oh,
Kreiner?
actually, we have one.
Go ahead and let them speak. Please state your name, your address, and you have 3 minutes.
This is Diego Velasco. I'm with City Thinkers. I'm a consultant that assisted the city with the study, and I just wanted to say that I'm here on Zoom. I'm sorry I couldn't join you in person, but I'm available if there are any further questions to assist both Sophia and Adrian. And my address is 3812 Park Boulevard, San Diego, California.
Thank
Thank you.
you. Thank you, Diego. Chair Vang and Commission, I just wanted to say that it was an oversight that I did not acknowledge Diego Velasco from City Thinkers, who was on the line with us, and he was a fantastic consultant on this effort. You see the beautiful graphics in the plan itself are his, and he was very helpful every step of the way. So I just want to acknowledge him. And I also want to acknowledge, again, Maricela Martinez, planner, who was the lead on this project. She did an amazing job. She really created the zines and did a lot of the artwork herself, and they have won an award with the American Planning Association. So just wanted to make sure that all of the folks that contributed to this effort are acknowledged, and there's probably many more, so thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Kreiner, are there any members of the public at your remote location that wish to comment in support of the project?
No, there's not.
All right, thank you. We'll go ahead and go to the public to see if anybody wants to speak in opposition of the project. Do we have any individuals on Zoom?
Not at this time.
All right. Commissioner Kreiner, are there any members of the public at your remote location that wish to comment in opposition?
No, there is not, sir.
All right, thank you. We'll go ahead and close all public comments. We'll go ahead and bring it back to the commission. Do we have any motions by the commission?
I'll move to recommend adoption. I'll second it.
Okay. We have a motion by Commissioner Bray, a second by Commissioner Diaz. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, say
Aye.
no. Motion passes. Thank you. All right, next do we have any reports from the secretary?
Just a very brief one about this study and the awards. So I did want to recognize that the outreach, the public engagement has been recognized by the Central California section of the California APA. So they won the Public Outreach Award regionally. They were nominated then for the California APA chapter and have received, we just learned this week, an award of merit, and they'll be recognized at the conference that'll be held here in September. So really, this is a great example of good public engagement, of good outreach that we'd like to build upon at the city of Fresno, and the team really has been amazing. Maricela, her brain for this, right? She had to keep explaining to me what a zine was. You know, it's like a magazine, but not really a magazine. Okay, and it just is. It's so engaging, and to get people involved in the process, and everyone who was involved. But in particular, Maricela, it was her vision, and we were able to fulfill it and reap the reward. So thank you all for your time tonight.
Thank you. Do we have any unscheduled oral communications? Any on Zoom?
Not at this time.
All right, thank you. It's 6:35. We'll go ahead and adjourn the meeting. Everyone have a wonderful evening. Thank you.